What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Couch Consumer live stream. We have a bunch of news that we're going to be talking about today. First, we're going to get into the Last Airbender and the controversy from the director, his comments on an interview, and then we're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad, the controversy behind that. I know it's a lot of controversies this morning, and the unceremonious killings of our favorite heroes. But we've got a really interesting take from our guest, and we'll introduce her in a second. And then we're going to be talking about Black Forest Games and the gutting of that studio, and if we'll be seeing the recently announced new TMNT Last Ronin game. And to help me introduce all of that and talk about it is a very sharp lady, Gamer Geek. She is absolutely amazing. How are you doing this
I'm
morning?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Right on. I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Um, so I always like to start with a feel good story, and today we're going to be talking about a peripheral that is reminiscent from like the mid 2010s. You know, uh, Guitar Hero Rock Band.
Yes.
Apparently, they've got a new peripheral. It's wireless, which is awesome, and it's going to be for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And
Okay.
it's coming just in time for the Fortnite festival, so you'd be able to jam out with that thing. And since Microsoft owns Guitar Hero, there are whispers that this could cause them to you know uh make a new game for Guitar Hero. I think
It
that'd
could.
be cool.
I think it would be really cool. I know Guitar Hero was extremely popular back
Yeah.
in the day, and
Oh yeah.
I know so many people wanted to play it. I actually was more of the cheerleader when we would go to my brother's house.
Yes.
um, but it was funny. A few weeks ago, we actually were over there and pulled everything out, including the
Mhm.
PlayStation 2, and
Oh
everyone was
wow.
looking out to it. So I know that would be something that a lot of people would still be interested in.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
there were some rumors over the last year, I think, that there
Okay.
was a new game coming out. Uh,
Yeah.
so it could already be in development.
Oh, right on. Wow. Okay. Holy crap. I didn't even hear about
Yeah.
that. And for everyone watching right now, this is how you get a hold of Gamer Geek, is her YouTube and her Twitter. We also have it in the description. So if you want to get a hold of her and watch, she's on Resident Evil right now. She's got playthroughs for you to help you get through it. I know I'm going to play start streaming um Resident Evil really soon. So I'm really gonna need those. I'm really gonna need those. So how will you
Well,
take us?
hopefully they help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right on. All right. So we're gonna be moving into our first kind of controversy.
Yeah.
But the first controversy we're gonna be talking about is the Last Airbender. And what the director, he just did an interview. Kotaku is the one that kind of distributed it out, brought it to everyone's attention. And so we're going to share our screen real quick and let everyone see what's going on. I promise this is a professional. We're super professional over here. But so we're going to scoot down. So the Sokka's character who's playing Sokka, I can't remember his name for the life of me. He has some interesting things to say about the sexism that Sokka um, um, had to deal with during the first season. And a lot of people have been pushing back on that, saying it was part of his character development. I 100% agree with that take
Mhm.
on it. He ran into some very strong and very capable women, and it changed the way he thought about it. Because whenever he was really young, his dad went off to fight the Fire Nation, and so he was like the only male left in the tribe, and he had to kind of step up. And I think that kind of attributed to how he looked at women. He looked
Mhm.
at himself as the protector and women to be protected, not that women could, protect themselves or are very capable. But, you know, along his travels with Aang, he was able to have that worldview challenge, and they're taking that away. They just view it as um problematic, you know what I mean? Not
Yes.
nowadays. So here we have a quote. So we decided to make, oh well, this is here. That's the Sokka
Mhm.
controversy. And then with Aang, what they're doing with Aang is he's not going to be traveling to all these places and seeing how the Fire Nation is affecting a lot of these provinces outside of the big cities. Um, so they're taking that out of the character development for Aang, and right from the get go, he's just, I got to get ready. I've got to fight the Fire Nation. And he doesn't. I guess he's not going to be scared. He's not going to have any apprehensions about it. He's a 12-year-old boy, and I can imagine myself being 12 years old, being locked in ice for 100 years,
Yeah.
and wanting to go back and see how the places where I visited changed. I would totally do that.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so we have a quote here. So we decided to make Aang's narrative drive a little clearer. In the first season of the animated series, he's kind of going from place to place looking for adventures. I would push back on that and say he's not really looking for adventures. He's trying to find someone to teach him uh the four elements. He even says, first, we've got to go and ride the elephant koi, which, fine, fine. It's a little looser as befits a cartoon. We need to make sure that he had that drive from the start, um, which I don't think they should do that. How do you feel about that? I'm assuming you're familiar with the last Avatar, right?
Yes. Yes, I
Right
am.
on.
Um,
Sorry.
no,
Should
you're
have
good.
said that first.
I actually think that it would have been a better idea to show him going around at least a little bit
Yeah.
because, you got to think about it.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so like I was in the army.
Hmm.
When I would go back somewhere, it's not like I didn't remember things, but I
Hmm.
know things changed.
Yeah.
Um, and you want to be able to go and explore and meet the people. You think about how long he's been frozen and locked up,
Yeah.
and you are taking that away, that experience of him going through, seeing what's changed,
Yeah.
seeing these people, trying to find a teacher, and trying
Hmm.
to get an understanding of the world as it is now versus the
Right.
way that it was then.
Hmm.
And I believe that that's integral to the entire story.
Yeah.
So taking that part out is a little bit of a stretch for me.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to have to kind of wait and see how they do it. But
Yeah.
I think that it would have been important to at least incorporate some of that into the show
Hmm.
because you're essentially skipping over. Here I was in ice, bam, here I am.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go fight some people or go do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and you're skipping that integral part. So for people that haven't watched the animated series, they're
Mhm.
not going to understand as well. Kind of like how with the movie, I know there's a lot of controversy around the movie that was
Yeah.
made. I rather enjoyed it, but it definitely wasn't on par with the animated series.
Yeah.
However, I didn't go in thinking it was going to be a movie on the animated series, so
Right on.
I kind of won out on that
Yeah. Yeah.
because I don't go in with those expectations.
Okay.
I have notoriously low expectations for things so that I can get surprised. Uh, but yeah, leaving that part out, I think is a mistake. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna have to see how they handle it. If they can show some sort of character development to take over that traveling, so it doesn't seem as boring. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's why they took it out. Um,
Probably.
if they can show something to incorporate what he experienced,
Hmm.
what he's seeing, and how it's developing who he is now,
Hmm.
then I think it'll work.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they should have skipped all that.
Right on. And you had mentioned something that got me thinking. 100 years ago, he was friends with people from the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
They were his friends, and to think that they were actually starting a war, that would absolutely completely blow away his prior understandings of that culture, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I would assume there would be some he wouldn't believe it at first, until he actually seen it for himself.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason, I think that's part of the reason why they sent him on those journeys. It's like, yes, the Fire Nation, they are bad guys. These are bad people doing bad things, Not all of them, obviously, but
Yeah.
I would assume he would need to have that shown to him so he knows, how to move from there. And I just don't think that's it's a good way to do it. Now, I will say that whenever the showrunners from the cartoon left this live action, I did think that that maybe was a glimmer of hope, because I did watch The Legend of Korra,
Mhm.
and The Legend of Korra, I loved the first season of The Legend of Korra. It was absolutely amazing. And I was like, what what an amazing um kind of continuation to
Yes.
the with Aang. It was amazing.
It
And
was a
then it
really
got
good show.
yeah.
I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but everything that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did see was really awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they got into um the spirit realm and something happening and a whole bunch of people were getting airbending, that were, from families of waterbenders and things like that. I was like, okay, this is going a little off the rails. It went a little off the rails. I will say, I can't remember what season it is, but their big bad that got airbending, even learned how to fly. That,
Mhm.
to me, he was one of the best villains. But the show, kind of suffered because I don't think they really gave her a, a good arc, any good character development in, moving forward from that. But that's sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So we're gonna move down. We've got another quote. We had to make it a serialized Netflix drama, which meant it couldn't just be for kids. I totally 100% disagree, because the cartoon appealed to everyone, not just
Mhm.
kids. It had really good, um, what do you call that? Words are escaping me right now.
It's
Moral,
okay.
yeah, yeah. It had really good moral um, teachings, for lack of a better
Yes.
word, for everyone, for kids and adults. It had to also appeal to the people who are being big fans of Game of Thrones. Oh wait, and
But
so it had to feel grounded and mature and adult in that way too. Um,
why
I
did we have to appeal to Game of Thrones?
I have no idea, no clue. This is the first time I'm reading this quote.
Huh. Maybe it's because it's such a popular fantasy show series that's gotten a lot of a following, but uh, two
Hmm.
different two different genres and two different things, and plus,
Yeah.
I mean, our generation and below have
Mhm.
completely blown away that whole cartoons are for kids, not adults thing
Thank
because
you.
we are all over it.
Yes.
Even Disney movies you watch as an adult, you see a lot of adult things that you didn't
Oh my
see as a
goodness.
kid. Um,
Yes.
they have to appeal to kids and adults. So I don't
Yes.
agree with that quote of making it less cartoon like because you
Mhm.
needed to appeal to adults.
That's right.
That's not valid
No.
in our generation anymore. It's just
And
not.
that's right. And we are the generation that have the kids or taking the kids to the movies to
Mhm.
see, or, watching these shows with our kids at home. We're
Exactly.
that generation. We are the parents now.
Hmm.
We don't follow this old deal that cartoons cannot be made for adults. We aren't that generation.
No.
The baby boomers are the ones that are it's like
Yeah.
cartoons are for kids.
Exactly.
Millennials, that's not our bag. We don't believe that.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I am still going to be taking a look at this despite his comments, but like you, I got really low expectations for this.
Yeah.
Really, really low.
Yeah. I'm very very interested. Don't get me wrong, but I also go in because you know um, like with Harry Potter,
Yeah.
you know that the movies aren't going to encompass everything from the
Mhm.
books. So you have to have that expectation of things are going to change. So when you're taking an animated series and creating it into a live action,
Hmm.
it's definitely not going to be the same, despite how much you try. But I think if more people approached it, and I'm gonna name drop The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But if more
Yes.
people approached it like they did with The Last of Us
Hmm.
TV show, I think things would be a lot better for fans.
Yeah.
They really took something live action and kept it so true to the
Hmm.
source material, which you don't see in video games, even in a TV show.
Yeah.
Um, but they were able to do that really well, and then they were able to change some things
Hmm.
and expand upon it in a way that they never could in the game.
Yeah.
So I think if some notes could be taken, so to speak,
Yeah.
from that sort of, I mean, it was marvelous,
Yeah.
something that us fans had never seen. And so if you could take something like that and kind of study it and see how you can incorporate it yourself, that would be really great. But the
Yeah.
thing that show has that not everybody else has is the creators created it.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
creators created it. They
Yeah.
had their vision. They understood the material extremely well.
Yeah.
And sometimes in Hollywood, you don't have the opportunity to learn as quickly or as much, or study things the way that fans might want, so that
Hmm.
something can be exact.
Yeah.
So I think, I always go in with low expectations so that I can be surprised,
Yeah.
and
Well, absolutely.
I'm
Wow.
hoping that's what happens here.
Yeah.
So,
Goodness gracious. See, and this we have kind of conversations on the side. I ask you questions like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
mhm.
And I'm always blown away. Always. You have the best, like, oh my God, that was amazing. Good Lord.
I'm sorry.
Really quick, I had no idea. I was in a different window and like all these comments came through. We're gonna read some of them. We have Lord Beerus, Hakai God. Wow, bro, you got the legendary gamer geek lounge on panel. Yes, yes, she is amazing. Another from Lord Beerus, Gamer Geek Lounge squad represent 100%. Oh my God, you got, oh my God, big, big. And you said you just got to 400 subscribers.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right on.
Yesterday. It was a very exciting day for me. I don't think I
Yeah,
stopped smiling all day.
right on. Yes.
Yeah.
So and you like you said, you haven't even been at it for a year yet.
No,
And
I'll hit my year mark like mid to late March.
see, um, but you got some really great fans. That's awesome.
Yeah, Lord Beerus is probably one of my favorite people in the world as far as this goes. Very supportive, very big fan from the start, and just an amazing person. He's actually got his own YouTube channel that's actually really cool, because I love watching retro stuff,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of how we connected. And it's fun. I get to relive all my childhood stuff by watching his channel, and it's just really awesome. So
Right on.
y'all
Lord
should check
Beerus.
him out too if you're
Yes.
watching.
I am. I'm definitely going to be checking Lord Beerus out. Another from from Lord Beerus. She makes the best Resident Evil Mortal Kombat 1 Forbidden Horizon West content on YouTube. Right. That's Lord Beerus. High marks. Oh my God. That's awesome. Oh, I am enjoying very much um MS Geek or Miss
Misty,
Geek.
yeah. I wrote a little message saying that I hoped everybody joining us, or when you left the room,
Yeah.
I think I said it, that I
Oh,
hope everybody's having a good weekend and that they can join us in the chat. So
yeah, yeah. I probably should have put you like on the main while I freaking I'm glad I was wearing pants today.
you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, really, really.
Right on. Okay. So another from Lord Beers. I definitely recommend everyone go read her webpage. Very well written articles on there. And judging by speaking to you like this, absolutely. I'm gonna go check it out after this. One from John DBZ. Welcome, John. Lord Beers to you is what John DBZ is to me. He always shows up and is very encouraging, and he always makes the stream so much better.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, the
I was
movie was
enjoying
not.
kind of talking with him on the
Oh,
side over here while we were doing stuff.
right on. He says the movie was not as bad as the reviews. I watched the TV series from day one, and hopefully the Netflix version gets a bit more time to show everything before getting bad reviews. I
Yeah.
100%. I would definitely give it the old college try before making a judgment on whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, you can tell where the creators' heads are at just from their their early comments on it.
Mhm.
So that's you know red flags are going up. I'm still going to give it a chance, but um uh I'm I have really low expectations at this point. And then we've got one more from John DBZ. Live action will be hard to pull off with any cartoon anime because people who love the show will pick out small details. That is 100% true.
That is
Um,
very, very true.
yeah, yeah. Some things don't lend themselves well to live action. The Last of Us does because it's very, very grounded.
Mhm.
Um, but with the Avatar, with their bending abilities, it is going to be hard to translate that. But I think they have a very, very human story to tell. Um, so I think that is where they can excel if they decide to do that. But if they don't, it will suffer. And then I think that's where the small details will be picked apart. It's like, oh, the bending sucked here, and this, that, and the third. Oh, that doesn't look like Azula or Zuko or whatever.
Yeah.
That's when I think the it will get torn apart.
Yeah. Which
But
we
that
saw
is a very
also.
good point. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we see that a lot. Like, oh well, they don't look like this, or that's not how they're described in a book. Like with
yeah,
Harry
yeah.
Potter was, well, he's got blue eyes, but in the book they had green. You know,
Yes.
well, when your lead character's allergic to contacts, you can't really do anything about that. And then, like with Bella Ramsey, she doesn't look anything like Ella. Like, why would
Right.
you do that? And, but
Right.
she ended up blowing everyone away
Exactly.
um, with
Yep.
her performance. So I think
Mhm.
as long as everybody goes in knowing like it can't be exactly like the cartoons because you can
Yeah.
do and create things
Mhm.
in a art form that you can't necessarily do with live action. So I
That's
think
right.
if people go in with an open mind and really decide to give this a chance, hopefully the cast, crew, directors, writers really
Mhm.
put their heart into it, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it comes out really well.
Yeah. Same. 100%. Oh my goodness. And thank you guys for all the comments. That was awesome.
Yes, thank you guys.
We are going to bring up the clip in question that's been getting the Suicide Squad. I mean, they've got a
Yes.
bunch of stuff that's really going their way right now. But the clip that has been kind of circulating is the Batman death, and it's got everyone, um, you know, again picking it apart. Let me bring that up for you. Here is going to take. All right. Let's see here. We've got this one, and this is the one where Harley Quinn is talking to Batman, and this is the first clip I saw circulating through Twitter, and it really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But let's start it from the top here. Mm, okay, I think that's enough of that for now.
Yeah.
But so me and you talked about this beforehand. I don't mind if you decide to, kill off beloved characters. It
Mm.
happens all the time. There is a right way to do it. Um, but I don't think they went about this the right way. Harley Quinn mentioning that he was leaving, and you had a really good take on this, but Harley Quinn mentioned that he was leaving emotional and physical damage in his wake. And he was just kind of beating up bad guys and putting them in prison, stopping. And I wrote this on Twitter. It's like how you're making it seem like Batman is the bad guy when Harley and Joker have been, murdering, stealing, and terrorizing people for years,
Uh,
decades. And so coming from her, it just seems it falls flat for me, you know.
which I can understand.
Hmm.
I know when we spoke before, I had
Hmm.
mentioned that um, Harley Quinn wasn't originally bad. She was a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And, despite her massive change
Hmm.
and her personality splitting and her going a little bit crazy in love, like Beyonce said, and,
Yes.
and, that's still there though, behind the
Yeah.
scenes, that therapy and stuff like that. So you think about Batman, he's always been like the anti-hero.
Yeah.
He is the Dark Knight. He
Yeah.
is the vigilante
Hmm.
and the reluctant hero. He set out to seek revenge for the death of his parents.
Hmm.
And so, yes, he is accomplishing what he set out to do.
Hmm.
You see everybody else in fights as far as the Justice League goes.
Hmm.
You see Green Lantern getting in fights. You see everybody else getting in fights. But when you watch Batman, there's always this darker tone. There's
Hmm.
always, like with the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, you
Yeah.
got to see him really go in and just wail
Yes.
on people, and
Yes.
and
Mhm.
he wanted to incite fear.
Yeah.
Um, but you've also got to think about Gotham City and
Mhm.
how rough and tumble it is, how
Yeah.
dark it is, how um, probably like Chicago in the 40s,
Yeah.
just really gangsta.
Yeah.
And you got to think about the fact that he's also motivated by revenge. He's got a lot of hurt in his life. And
Mhm.
so I think what Harley Quinn was touching on here was more of her psychological viewpoint
Mhm.
of it was more of her psychological viewpoint of, hey, you might be a hero, but in some ways you're just as bad because you're going in, you're beating the crap out of people, you're not you're literally trying to save the city through fear in some
Mhm.
ways. We also have, like his son Damon, that was raised by the League of Assassins,
Mhm.
and the relationship that they had together. It was
Yeah.
very tough.
Yeah.
You saw how he wanted to care for Dick Grayson, but he also pushed him away a lot
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So there were various things going on, and I think that some of that was reflected in this comment, but I think it was a bottom line just trying to hurt him type thing
Yeah. Yeah.
in that final moment.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the reason that they did it was because of her psychology background, which not everybody knows or pays attention to.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that they could have maybe consulted someone to kind of see, like we've got Hellblade where they actually talk to neuroscientists and
Mhm.
psychologists and psychiatrists
Yeah.
and got information on that background and stuff. And I think if they had talked to somebody, and seen like, hey, if you had gone evil, if you were killing off your bad guy, how would you do it?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
not opposed to the whole killing of the Justice League because when you first see the preview, you're just like, well, why are they killing them? But
Mhm.
then you see more of the previews and you get to see that they've actually been manipulated and they're being used. And so they have no choice.
Yeah.
You see that moment with Green Lantern and Wonder Woman where he tells her, Diana, you have to kill us. That's the
Mhm.
only way to stop us.
Yeah.
And you see their hero side coming out where they're like, yeah, it's a sacrifice we have to make in order to save the world. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of cool because you get to see the heroes still come out,
Yeah.
but you get to see the bad guys being the anti-heroes this time, where they're
Mhm.
they're saving the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I'm not against. I'm not against the Suicide
yeah,
Squad
no,
for
I'm
sure.
not against that either. I
Mhm.
just think that I didn't like necessarily how Batman went out either.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, he would not have been sitting on a bench talking to
No.
her, or listening to begin with.
No.
So that part was more off for me than
Yeah.
what Harley had said to him to
Yeah.
begin with. But I do get it. I do get that.
Yeah, and
From a
he's
psychological point of view.
yeah, yeah. And Batman has a contingency for all of the Justice League members. He has a
Yeah.
contingency for Superman,
Oh yeah.
Flash, Wonder Woman. He has a contingency for all of them. So to think that, the Suicide Squad could outsmart or out
Yeah.
strategize Batman just
Hmm.
seems unlikely.
Or
Very
that
unlikely.
he would just sit there and let that happen.
Hmm.
So I mean, unless he, how do I put it? I don't know if they're more self aware or not. In that
Yeah.
scene with Green Lantern, he's wrapped in the
Mm,
lasso of truth.
yeah.
So he's able to push through, and his good side is able to kind of overcome. I don't
Hmm.
know if Batman, like, we always see him as this very smart, very rich, very motivated,
Hmm.
albeit by revenge,
Hmm.
person.
Yeah.
But you get to see, like you mentioned, the contingency plans.
Yeah.
He has those because he cares,
Yeah.
because he is a hero. He wants to make sure that the heroes aren't able to abuse their powers.
That's right.
And so that's why he has those contingency plans.
Hmm.
He's just a rich guy with fancy toys that
Yeah.
has a lot of awesome training and
Mhm.
motivation.
Yeah.
Um, but I just don't see how he would just sit there unless maybe there was a bit of him that was able
Mhm.
to be in control while
That's right.
being mind controlled.
Yeah.
So
Letting himself be taken.
yeah, so that
Yeah.
could be plausible,
Mhm.
but you don't see it in that clip. You don't
Right.
have to really see that. So I'm just gonna kind of go
Mhm.
with, she was messing with him, like with his mind, and
Mhm.
that some form of him allowed himself to sit there and let that happen
Yeah.
because he is a hero.
Yeah.
Um, but it just
Mhm.
didn't come across that way. So
Right on. I 100% agree. That definitely gives another side uh, a bit to chew on for sure. Um, I don't know if I'm totally sold on that. However, um, it's something I would definitely sit on and chew on for sure
yeah,
because that is a good point. That's a good point.
yeah.
I didn't think about any of that. So right on. All right. Um, I guess let's move on to um Black Forest Games. Black Forest Games. So we have Black Forest Games layoffs cut around 50% of employees. They did also mention that with those cuts, I think no managers got cut.
Really.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was all just devs, and that's been another big thing as far as these layoffs and the pushback from fans and gamers is that a lot of the devs are losing their jobs. Like none of the upper management are, you know.
Yeah.
So it's unfair, very unfair. It's very
Oh,
lopsided the way that they're doing things.
oh
Um, real quick before we get into the article, we have Lord Beer's um, brooding tone. Absolutely, yes.
yeah. Mhm.
Then we got sounds like she was using psychological warfare to beat him down emotionally and guilt him. That is certainly, um,
That could be
you
very
know,
true, actually.
yeah, yeah. And then lastly, it isn't Forrest Gump.
Him sitting on the bench.
Oh,
Oh my
right
goodness.
on.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
All right. According to an update report from Kotaku, a developer Black Forest Games has been hit with layoffs that affected approximately half of its total employees. Fans will recognize Black Forest Games from their remakes of action adventure classics Destroy All Humans and Destroy All Humans 2, reprobed. The layoffs were reportedly announced on January 24th, but management has not provided a specific explanation yet. They state that more information would be provided next week. Kotaku also reports that the creative directors and most, if not all, the managers will keep their jobs, which is uh, it doesn't help their case.
Yeah.
Uh, Currently, Black Forest Games is working on the highly anticipated game adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. The game was first revealed in March of 2023 as an action RPG, and they compared it to um, the 2018 God of War. Is how they were comparing it. I assume that's how the gameplay was. I remember thinking at the time I would love for it to be more like the Last Ronin, um, Ghost of Tsushima, just because, since he has all of his brother's weapons, being able to change different stances and different weapons, I think that would have been very, very awesome. But
Mm,
that's I guess this is fine too. um, Cutting about 50% of your employees is a massive shakeup, so it's unclear how this will affect the development of TMNT The Last Ronin. It could
yeah.
potentially be delayed as Black Forest Games recuperates and reorganizes. Ideally, Black Forest Games will address development plans in upcoming clarifying statements. Sadly, it seems that 2024 continues the trend of devastating layoffs that affected so many last year. So yeah, um, the biggest thing for me is I'm, you know, obviously worried about the devs and this climate of layoffs that we have right now.
Yeah.
That's been happening, since last year. Last year was probably the worst we'll see, but this year they haven't really been slowing pace. And another thing to mention is Black Forest Games is under the umbrella of Embracer Group, and it really bothers me, Embracer Group, the way that they handled everything, because they went on a buying spree during the pandemic,
Mhm.
and they were making a bet that this Saudi Arabian, I want to say, um, they were Saudi Arabia funders from Saudi Arabia. They were banking on that money to be able to foot the bill, and when that fell through, they had to get rid of all these studios. So my problem with them is they didn't plan properly financially, to handle, not being able to depend on this funder, and so now they have to lay off all of these people, and they've got access to freaking ridiculously awesome games. I want to say, give me one second. I think Tomb Raider
Yeah,
is
because they're also under THQ Nordic, which is a
right.
huge developer.
Yeah.
So it's them and THQ Nordic. Um,
Mhm.
you and I had actually talked about this before.
Mhm.
The video game industry makes a ton of money,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I mean billions.
Hmm.
And when Microsoft decided that they were going to make this huge acquisition of
Hmm.
Activision Blizzard and then lay off so many people, I
Yeah.
was really angry.
Yeah.
Um, because don't tell me you're going to spend $70 million and
Hmm.
then get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
Um, it definitely harms consumer trust.
Yeah.
It harms their confidence in you delivering everything that you promised you were going to do while you were fighting to make this acquisition.
Oh yeah.
And I think that this is the same thing with Black Forest Games. They definitely didn't plan well,
Yeah.
and they were counting on money that they didn't have
Hmm.
100%,
Yeah.
which is really bad. But you're keeping all these managers that are making extremely high salaries. I'm sorry,
That's
but
right.
devs don't make very much money,
Right.
and when you look at how much the video game industry is worth and the passion and the work and the dedication that they do to
Hmm.
bring us these amazing games,
Hmm.
it's very upsetting to see them laid off, but it's also upsetting when you research it and you see how little they make off of these games,
Yeah.
off of this work.
Yeah.
And coding is not easy, art is not
No.
easy,
No.
coming up with these ideas, writing these things. It's really, really hard. And
Yeah.
you've got the gaming companies acting like most corporations, where they're like,
Hmm.
well, let's protect the top,
Yeah.
let's protect these high paid people, and
Hmm.
they're not thinking about the worker bees that are making it happen.
Yeah.
At some point, I think that video game strike that they've been pitching since the SAG strike, I think is
Hmm.
going to happen.
Yeah.
I also think that as players and fans, that we might have to get involved in some way,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether we decide that we're going to start boycotting games, which would make me really, really sad.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I mean, I have like a shelf of games that I'm just like, I'll get to you later, and then I do something else and stuff like that. So I'll have plenty
Yes.
of stuff to keep me occupied in the
Yeah.
meantime. But um, until something is done to hurt their pockets at the top,
Mhm.
they're not going to listen. They're not
Yeah.
going to do anything. These layoffs are going to still continue to happen,
Mhm.
and you're going to see the managers still getting stuff done.
Yeah.
I had a friend whose dad owned a like a flooring company,
Mhm.
and when it came to letting employees go, she was just like, no, I need to be the one that goes, and she was the manager and she did things like that,
Yeah.
daughter of the owner. And she was
Yeah.
like, no, I need to go
Mhm.
because, this is your business and these are the people that are making it where you can get paid, and I'll go find another job. And I
That's
thought
right.
that was really admirable that her dad and her felt that way.
Mhm.
And I think that's the right way to do business. The video
Yeah.
game industry, just like the entertainment industry, is like, hey, let us make all this money. And then the writers that are creating this content and these actors that are delivering it so well and
Mhm.
making the fans, we don't care about the writers.
Yeah.
Without them, we couldn't have all this good stuff, but we don't care.
That's right.
And so they had to make them care, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm a big Swiftie, so we're going to throw out Taylor Swift real quick. Um,
Nice.
she went to Hollywood first with her
Yeah.
Eras Tour movie,
Yeah.
and then she decided that she was going to cut them out because she didn't want to deal with all that
Yeah.
and their greed and their restrictions and everything like that. So she
Mhm.
just went straight to AMC theaters
Very
and she
cool.
said, "Hey, let's do this. Let's do these promotions. Let's split it this way."
Yeah.
And they totally cut out Hollywood, and they are very angry with her about
Yeah.
that. And you got to think about it, $1 billion tour, and you messed around because you're greed
Yes.
and
Yeah.
really lost out on a huge opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And at some point, it needs to happen with the video game industry. Something's got to happen to show them, hey, you've got these people creating these things,
Yeah.
and
Without them,
yeah,
there wouldn't be you wouldn't have a job.
yeah,
They are the brain behind all this.
hmm,
You're just kind of the limbs trying to keep everything together, I guess.
yeah,
But a complete restructuring of how this happens, because a lot of these CEOs, I looked it up once. Some are making hundreds of millions of dollars. The one that I saw that was making the least, it was still tens of millions of dollars. You mean to tell me that you can't even cut that salary in half and still pay your employees? That's absolutely ridiculous.
hmm,
Absolutely ridiculous. The disparity between the CEOs and the one who designed Kratos is way too high. It's too high.
yeah.
I don't
And
like it.
I absolutely agree. It's just the amount of time that it takes. I mean, I'm just playing around with things myself, and
Hmm.
I have one of my sons likes to do like Blender and stuff like that, and I'll
Hmm.
watch this simple creation that takes so long to do,
Yeah.
and get perfect and everything like that. And I'm blown away by the end result.
Hmm.
But even just watching the little bit of work that he's doing when he comes over and hangs out for a weekend,
Yeah.
um, because he's grown and lives on his own,
Hmm.
it's amazing. And I'll sit there and I'll think and I'll be like, man, people that are making those animated movies, those animated
Hmm.
shows, those video games,
Yes.
and you have to animate everything so much. Yes, motion capture has helped a lot,
Right
but
on.
you got to
Yeah.
think about it. They're still having to program it. Yes, they've got
Yeah.
the motion capture. Yes, they have like the little stick figures that they get to build upon. But
Yeah.
because that's actually how the motion capture looks. But
Right. Right.
it's really a lot of work that
Hmm.
these developers, these programmers, these artists, the special effects,
Hmm.
everything. It's a lot of work that they do, and
Yeah.
the fact that you've got somebody on a $150,000 a year salary
Hmm.
that can't go down to 90,000 just so
Yeah.
that you can keep one employee, because
Right.
they don't make a lot. They really
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
And they're the bread and butter behind what gives these companies all of this money that they're making.
Yep. Yeah. It's
So
like without um Christopher Judge, without Chris Barlog, without those guys, they wouldn't have made, and I want to say God of War 2018
mhm,
made like $800 million.
yeah,
It's insane.
it's
And
a great game.
yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I've been a fan of it since the first one came out.
Yeah.
Um I want to say it was PlayStation 2, but still though, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Something has to be done about this, and it's unfortunate that companies like Ember or Embracer, I always call them Ember, but Embracer Group, because they made a very, very poor financial decision. Everyone, all the studios under them, have to suffer, and none of their upper management does. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me.
I
You
agree.
know?
I
Oh
would
my
have
gosh.
probably gotten rid of my CFO first and found a fresher CFO, chief financial officer, to,
Yes.
that showed talent and could be paid less and keep some people. Um, at some
That.
point, you've got to restructure management because
Yeah.
it's not working out, and this is
Oh yeah.
clearly not working out. But they're just concerned with their own money, and that's just really unfortunate because the game industry
Hmm.
really, really does suffer. And
Yeah.
then, if you're a fan that's paying attention and reading this stuff and getting involved in more than just playing the video game,
Hmm.
it really hurts your view of the company. You
Right
know,
on.
um, I honestly was so disappointed with Xbox that
Hmm.
I was like, man, I don't even want to play any more
Yeah.
of your
And
games.
what's really
Uh,
messed up is, Xbox is a $3 trillion company.
mm-hmm.
Even they probably have enough money on hand to pay, all of the Xbox employees for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
They probably have that. I think that $69 billion, that I think that was all on hand money. I don't think
Yeah,
they had to liquidate anything for that. you know? So
I
you
know.
mean to tell me that you have to get rid of these guys, even though um Activision, Blizzard, they have
Mhm.
some of the most recognizable brands out there,
Yes.
So you.
Especially because they started with PlayStation, like
Mhm,
their Crash Bandicoot was Sony's Mario,
mhm, yeah.
and and so you think about that and
Mhm,
Call of Duty and all that,
yep,
and
Spyro too.
yeah, Spyro's
Yeah.
a real big one.
Mhm,
But what amazes me is the original Xbox, and I
mhm.
still have mine, guys.
Right on.
It was really awesome. I had so much expectation for like the 360, and I ended up being kind of disappointed. But
Mm,
with the original Xbox, Bill Gates made nothing. He lost money,
yeah,
and he was just like, "That's fine because we're still going to break into the video game industry." He didn't cut anybody. He didn't fire anybody. That wasn't deserving of it just because he lost money. He was just like, "I lost money. Oh well."
yeah.
I believe in this and we're going to do this.
Mhm,
um and if more people in those higher positions like owners or CEOs, CFOs, and all that other stuff thought
yeah,
about that and thought about the future instead of just right now and our bottom line,
yeah,
this wouldn't happen as often.
yeah.
But all of these layoffs right now, it's gonna end badly.
Mhm,
So
right on. We have a lot of comments, Lord Beerus. We've got it's absolutely ridiculous. 100% agree.
yes.
Um, uh, we've got she should have warned you that I have bad jokes and bad puns.
Yeah, that
As
Forrest
far
Gump
as
was
Gulfwood,
pretty good though.
it was. Um, and even me and my wife, we love puns. Absolutely love them.
Yes.
I hope we get an anime movie adaptation of The Last Ronin. That would be sick. I 100% agree with that. That would
That
be
really would.
crazy. But
I'd be watching
no, yeah, me too. No more 9 foot turtles though. No more of that. I don't want to see any more 9 foot turtles. I'd like them to be more compact, built for speed, not for, not a tank.
Yeah, I get that.
Do either of you have any thoughts about certain gaming companies thinking they're not charging enough for games? Oh my God, yes. Yang Ye actually talked about this. Um, Grand Theft Auto, that was kind of an outlier because it's ridiculous. It's too popular.
Mm,
I heard that they were trying to make that price tag $100 standard. Um, the thing with that though, I believe if any other company tries to do that, less people will be playing games, less revenue for the gaming companies, and they have to switch up their strategy pretty quick after that. But I'm not for it. I think $70 is a lot now. um if they decide to go a $10 increase, I'll play less games. I
yeah,
only look at the ones that I absolutely can't live without, and if they go to 100, I'm looking at indies at that point.
yeah, for real. The problem with them thinking that they don't charge enough.
Mhm.
I mean, I get the costs. I get the
Yeah.
costs of development. I get the cost of and the time for
Hmm.
development.
Hmm.
Oh, and you're not even paying your devs and your creators, and you're laying everybody off. How can you justify
Yeah.
charging more?
Exactly.
You're not making the money that you're bringing in. You're not using it wisely enough as it is.
That's right.
Um, when they said Tears of the Kingdom was going to be $70, everybody about flipped.
Yeah.
And even I thought about not buying it right away. I thought about
Hmm.
canceling my pre-order.
Yeah.
Um, and then Nintendo came back and they said that that wasn't going to be the standard for all their games from now on.
Okay.
When I played Tears of the Kingdom and I realized that we essentially got an entire Breath of the Wild
Mhm.
plus two more games because
Yeah.
they have the Sky Islands. They have a
Okay.
whole thing up there. They have an entire depths, which is everything underground
Yeah.
of Hyrule. And there's so many missions and stuff. I could see the $10
Hmm.
increase justification,
Yeah.
but they could have easily been like, "Oh, it's going to be 90 or 100 or
Hmm.
something like that." But they didn't. They Nintendo, they might not have the graphics and they might not have everything else, but they've always had that. They don't go up in price too much
Yeah.
versus the economy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
$70 for the PlayStation games, I don't agree with. I think they
Yeah.
should still be 60, which is still a lot to me.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it used to be digital movies, digital copies of video games, they were cheaper.
Hmm.
Well, now you're making the digital copies, they're still $70,
Hmm.
$80,
Yeah.
$100, depending on
Yeah.
the version that you get.
Hmm.
And you're not getting that physical disc, you're not getting that physical case.
Right.
So why is it the same price?
Right.
And
100%. That is a great question.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you've also got the like it was a big thing with Alan Wake,
Hmm.
and just off the top of my head, I can't remember which other game it is right now that they're saying is all digital with no option for a physical. I don't think
Hmm.
that's right either. You should give consumers the choice.
That's
You
right.
should not force them to have a physical or a digital. It should be a
Right.
choice. It should
Yeah.
never be one or the other.
Hmm.
And then the fact that, like I said, they're both the same price. That's not okay. That's just greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Because I
that's
mean,
just straight up greedy.
your overhead for the digital, you don't have to make the cases or the CDs. So that
Yeah,
part, you don't have to take out, so the all digital should be cheaper. You're exactly right. And Lord Beer is a Kai God. Freaking fantastic question. Holy moly. That
I
was
know.
great.
He's really good. You
Yeah.
need to have him guest with you one day.
Right on.
He gets you thinking.
And I hope you're reoccurring, whenever you have time, hop on. Every Saturday, that's when I'm off. So that's when I
Yeah,
do it. I
yeah.
can't
I'd
speak
love to
for,
do it some
oh,
another time. Absolutely.
okay, right on. Heck yeah. I can't
Yeah.
speak for every company, but I saw something about Capcom absolutely thinking they don't charge enough for their games. Yes, that is the one who floated that idea from in the first place.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Capcom was the one. Their CEO is the one that floated that. Um, like you said, like you mentioned about the layoffs, how can you know, justify up in the price in the ridiculous amount that these CEOs, CFOs make? Maybe restructure that before you start trying to charge the customer more money. You
Yes.
know, That's
Agreed.
absolutely crazy. Um, oh God, not the Swifty stuff. JK.
Hey, y'all
Um,
are lucky that this wall isn't just covered with all Swifty stuff. So, you know, I've got
right.
enough of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a sporadic Swifty, if that's the thing. I like some
Yeah,
of her stuff.
I get it.
Unashamedly, she does
Yeah,
good work, but I'm not a fan of all of it. You know,
which I can respect for sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Right. The fans, sorry, players who buy the games and the devs and nerds who make and debug the games are what makes the games. And these greedy corporate fat cats don't care about that. It's always line their pockets. This is true. And
Very.
I heard a really great point. Whenever you go public with your company, it's all about appeasing the shareholders.
Mhm.
So anything that's
Unfortunately.
going to make them happy, you have to do. You have to take that course of action. And I was thinking about this. If you lay off employees, that's more money that's going towards your bottom line. So you look like you've made more money that year than you really did because you're siphoning it from people you would have to pay.
Yeah.
So I think
And
maybe
then your
maybe that's why.
shareholders are more happy. They
Hmm.
get some more money and then maybe buy more shares, make
Hmm.
stocks go up. It's
Yep,
a vicious cycle.
it is.
Um, I think we should all get together, crowdfund, and just buy all the shares as gamers. That would teach them.
That'd be a GameStop type situation, and I'm
That
not.
that was a good one. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah. They got I want to say a movie on Netflix that's coming out about that
Yeah,
whole
they
thing.
it's actually out. I think the
Oh, right
documentary.
on. I'm
Hmm.
watching it. I gotta
Yeah,
watch that. It looks
yeah.
awesome. It's like on one frame, the guy who's buying shares for GameStop, his wife asked him, was like, "How much do we make?" He's like, 4 or 5 million. And then it goes to the guy who's buying shorts on the stock, and his wife asked him, "How much did we lose?" He was like, 4 or 5 billion.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was awesome.
Oh.
I can't wait to watch that.
But did they really lose it? Because I mean, if it was just sitting there in the stocks, like you technically didn't have that, you know.
That's right. And one of the biggest rules is if you own the stock and you haven't sold it, um you know how does it go? It still has the potential of going back up,
Hmm.
so um until you sell it, you haven't lost or gained anything.
Exactly.
But Lord Beer Sakai, uh they need their money to pay for their 3 mansions and 6 cars and mistresses and etc. at someone else's expense who actually works hard for their money. And it's just
Apathetic, selfish behavior. You are
gotcha.
so right there. It really is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, greed runs the world. Selfishness
Yes.
is running the world, and for me, it's just really unfortunate. I've
Hmm.
always been a really empathetic person, a real like I can almost like feel somebody's emotions. Or like I'll read a story and it will just absolutely break my heart or crush me, or see a news story, anything.
Hmm.
And I just don't understand, I guess, maybe because I have so many compassionate feelings that I don't understand. I don't think I could work in a corporation and be in one of those top positions and see these people get laid off while I'm still rolling around in my Bentley, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
although I'd probably still have a Civic. So,
Those last forever.
yeah.
Freaking Lord Beerus, no Megazord turtles. Megazord. What's funny is I actually have a comic here. I haven't read it yet because I want to get the entire series, but it's a crossover between the Ninja Turtles and the Power Rangers. I cannot wait to get them.
Really?
Yes, it is. It looks amazing. It looks awesome. In the Power Rangers, in the particular one that I have, they are actually the dinosaurs that their
Oh, so they're
shield
the dinosaur
represents.
mech.
Yeah, they're the
Nice.
dinosaurs, and the turtles are actually dressed up in the Power Ranger um, outfit, and it's awesome. It looks great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Lord Beerus, game price increases plus then you pay for the DLC later. It's like getting 3 or 4 games 20 years ago. Yes, dude.
That is very true.
The
If
the first go for it.
I was
I'm
gonna
sorry.
say, if I think I paid like $20 or $30 for the Horizon Forbidden West DLC, Burning Shores,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually upset when I first saw it.
Yeah.
But it was almost an entire. It was like half the game,
Yeah.
And so when I thought about it that way, and I actually played it, there was so much content in it that
Mm-hmm.
like it was actually cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they lowballed it for
Yeah.
us. Getting it at
Yeah.
$20 was actually a steal, and I
Yeah.
love that about Guerrilla Games.
Yeah.
The Every is probably going to call me a pony for this, but the reason I love PlayStation so much is that they buy these smaller studios
Yeah.
and they give them the time to develop all
Mhm.
of this great stuff. They don't
Yep.
push them. If the games aren't ready, they're just like, take your time. It doesn't matter. We'll
Mhm.
just we'll just readjust.
Yeah.
And they get
Mhm.
the time to make these right.
Yeah.
And they aren't like threatening to fire the staff. They aren't doing any of that.
Yeah.
Um, so you get all these really great PlayStation Studio games,
Mhm.
and I don't hear, the same stuff like with um, Naughty Dog having to lay off hundreds of people, or
Yeah.
Guerrilla Games having to lay off hundreds of people. And even watching the state of play the other day, you got to see them encourage these developers and being like, "Hey, we're going to work with you on this."
Mhm.
And some of the fans aren't behind some of these pitches on these games that they've got going on right now, but PlayStation's still like, we're going to do this. We're
Yeah.
still going to do this, and I really like that about them.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm a primarily PlayStation and Nintendo gamer, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I don't also like Xbox.
Right.
There's just been a lot of things over the last two generations that I just cannot get behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that it's not a great system, not that they don't have amazing games as well,
Mhm.
um, but I see the difference between their personally owned studios
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and what they're charging and how they're laying off. Not that Sony doesn't do it too. Every
Right.
company does it. Every
Yeah.
every company.
Mhm.
Um, but it gets discouraging when you're seeing a $70 billion acquisition, and then, oh, let's lay off this many people, and you're just like, trying to make your money back. Like, are we going to get these great games that you promised? Because I'm sorry, you said you were going to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo.
Yeah.
Did you see how Mortal Kombat 1 looked on Nintendo? And I love me some Nintendo,
Yeah.
but come on, like,
Yeah.
at least with Mortal Kombat 11, it was just a little bit darker and just not as fine tuned.
Yeah.
You get to Mortal Kombat 1 and you're just like, why you look like that, bro? Like, it looks like a fan made Minecraft port.
Yeah. Yeah. It was bad. It was
It
really
was.
bad. Oh
So,
my gosh.
my Microsoft's like, oh, I will bring Call of Duty to the Nintendo. Well, you're going to need those developers that you just laid off,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
you
And
got your work cut off.
the Switch 2 is going to be coming out soon. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it will be a more powerful machine. So hopefully, that
Uh,
transition won't be looking like the
yeah,
inferior port.
yeah, hopefully not. But I'm ready for the Switch too. I love the Switch. I think they finally found their perfect machine.
Yeah,
So,
it is the perfect. Yeah,
mhm.
they went in a hybrid route,
Yeah,
and that right there, that can't be topped, in
no,
my opinion.
yeah.
John DBZ, always great to pop in, pop by. Have a great day. Um, thank you, John DBZ. Um, wherever you are, man, if you're on, you're laying your head down because I want to say he's in the UK,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have a great day too, bud. Um, here we go. Doo-doo-doo. Lord Beerus, Gamer Geek is right. They should force it on you, let you choose what you want, and not impose and not take away your choice of physical versus digital. 100%. I'm always in the corner of give the consumer an option.
Yes.
The less options, the worse it is for the consumer. The more, the better.
Yeah.
Okay. Give her 5 years and it will be no no smothered in Swifty stuff. Oh,
Yeah, it's true.
is it your background?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Gamer Geek has a heart as big as the globe. She's a good soul, honestly. Oh my goodness.
Well,
Right
thank you, Lord
on.
Beerus. I
Lord Beerus,
appreciate
you're
you.
awesome. He's right. The TMNT did morph into the Ranger suits. Yes, it was, and it looks fantastic. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. And then last one, Lord Beers. I remember going to Funkoland back in the day in new games, maybe 15 to 30 bucks max. God, I need Doc Brown's time machine to go
Yeah.
back in time and buy more at those prices. Yes.
True
Um
story.
I mean, there is always the bargain bin, which they will uh inevitably end up at if they decide to go with the $100 price tag. But
GameStop will start making a lot more money too because
yes.
we're going to have to sell more games to
Hmm.
pay for the new ones, and then us poor people like me are going to scoop in and buy all those
Yeah.
used games.
I'm primarily going to be a bargain bin shopper
I
if they
know.
decide to raise the prices any more than they have. I think
I'm going to go
maybe
Lord.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yep.
go Lord Beerus's route and just start playing all the old retro games
Yes.
until I can afford the new ones.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz I mean, shoot man, give it a year. It'll be 30 bucks. So, and then, I say screw them at that point,
Yeah,
$100, that's too much for a game. And like I said, Grand Theft Auto 6, because the fan base is so big, people will pay that. A lot of people will play that.
they will, and it's
Mhm,
unfortunate.
mhm,
I read there was a couple. It was either 100, and then there was another one that said it was going to be 120.
mm.
And like my son is a huge GTA fan,
Mhm,
and I told him, I said, if it's $100, 120, any of that, I said, you're not getting it, buddy. You better hope it comes out on that day one Xbox Game Pass, otherwise
right.
you're not playing.
Mhm,
And we were talking about it, and at 15, he goes, "I'm sorry, that's ridiculous." He was like, "I
yeah,
have GTA 5, I'll be fine,"
yes.
and so it was pretty cool that that was his response. But
Mhm,
when you've got a 15-year-old that doesn't pay for their own gaming equipment,
yeah,
gaming consoles, or games,
mhm,
saying that, it's a problem.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
you got a huge problem on your hand.
yeah. So even these next gen gamers that are coming up and are going to be your primary
Oh, give me 1 second,
audience.
sorry.
Oh, hi, cutie. But yeah, I don't agree with those prices. I don't agree with the layoffs. I don't agree with any of that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Like if you're laying off that many people to save yourself some money, then why are you charging more for games? Just doesn't make sense. Like you obviously don't need to pay those developers because you just got rid of them all. So it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it said the Embracer Group has laid off over 900 people since announcing its restructuring program last July. That is a huge amount. I just, I mean, maybe it's not all devs, it says 904 people since they began, but it might not be all devs. I'm not really sure. It said
Sorry.
you're okay. I was actually just going over how I was looking at these numbers from Embracer, and
Mhm,
it looks like since they announced everything in July,
mhm.
that they confirmed that they laid off 900 people in their
Wow.
restructuring. But if you look at the numbers, so for quarter two,
Mhm,
they said that the net sales were 10.8 billion, which
mhm.
is 100 or 1 billion up 13%.
Holy crap. Yeah, so they're still making money.
Yeah, and then their net loss was 562 million. So
Yeah.
you've got 10.8 billion
Mhm,
minus 562 million.
mhm.
Not a lot. It looked like in Q2 of 2022,
Mhm.
they'd had like a 2.6 billion,
Okay.
and their net debt was 14.6 billion, which, I mean, you always have debt, you always borrow money, you always do that,
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
but it was a change of 31%, and then
Mhm.
their net sales from April to September of 2023 was um, 21.3 billion units,
Yeah. Oh,
you
shoot.
know, and so you take those 904 people and lay them off. I'm hoping they weren't all devs. Like maybe maybe they got rid of the CEO's personal
Yeah.
cleaning staff. I don't really know. Like maybe they laid off some assistants or something. But
Yeah.
um, that is a lot of people
Mhm.
since July. You
Yeah.
know, I would
I
like
do
to
have a
see
feel good
them justify
story
it.
to end it though. So we
Okay.
had like a crap sandwich, a good
Mhm.
story, then, the controversies, and then we've got a good story to end it with.
Yeah, it's a sandwich method.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we had a really great day, but your kid cut off this other kid's ponytail. But they ended it really great, and we had like him giving hugs when his friend fell and skinned his knee. So yeah, the sandwich method. Let's
Oh
feel
my
good this to the end.
oh my gosh. That's a big one though. Holy crap, cut off someone's ponytail. I mean, it's hair to grow back, but it's holy crap. That's
I
that's
would
a
cry.
that's jarring right there. Holy
Yeah,
moly.
I hope that doesn't actually happen, but it wouldn't surprise me. Kids can be pretty mean.
They can't be. Even, oh my goodness. And we'll get to the rest of the comments after we finish up here. So Volition devs regroup as Shapeshifter games after Embracer shuttering. So there are good things happening, even
Oh,
though
that's good.
Embracer is going through a turbulent time right now.
That's really
Um, what do they say? Veterans from Saints Row developer Volition have regrouped 5 months after the studio was scrapped by Embracer to form Shapeshifter Games. As spotted by Tech Raptor, the company broke over on LinkedIn and described itself as a co-development studio aiming to create a more sustainable environment for developers to do their best work.
that would be
Um,
really great.
yes, a safe haven, especially if you're making money hand over fist. Keep your publishers. If you need to let anybody go,
Yeah.
maybe take a pay cut for the CEOs and the managers and things. Shapeshifter said it's already working with a top publisher on an upcoming franchise and it's looking to expand. Um, so when you have like studios like this, they already have name recognition, already have been a part of really good games, so it makes it easy for them to pitch. Um,
Yes.
if they decide to go on their own.
Hmm.
Shapeshifter is a new co-development studio that was started by pulling together a group of experienced developers from Volition, reads the Post. Shapeshifter is always searching for talented developers to help us grow. Please reach out. We would love to hear from you. They're going to be, this might be the start of a really big thing because of all the developers, seasoned developers who have left or been laid off from these other big studios. They might be getting a ridiculous amount of talent in
Yeah.
very near future. Holy moly.
And I hope so. That would be really great.
Hmm.
When it's starting out great. So I'm hoping that they're able to keep this structure of, hey, let's get these developers, let's get this talent together that's being let go by these. Sorry, my cat's tail
No, it's totally fine.
just
It's
popping up.
totally.
But yeah, you get these developers that are getting laid off,
Mhm,
these, animators, writers, everything, and
mhm,
get it all under this umbrella of this new company. It
mhm.
could be remarkable
Yeah,
and really change the culture of gaming, especially if they can become a major competitor.
yeah,
It'll change how these companies hopefully are working. But yeah, with so many people getting laid off, they've got to go somewhere.
yeah.
And I'm hoping that they've got enough capital to, get good talent and start bringing in some money,
Oh yeah,
and then bringing more of them on, because the way that these people are being treated right now is just not okay.
yeah. 100% agree with that.
And
Um,
I love that they've come together and decided, hey, let's make this industry better and
yes.
let's try to get people some jobs back. That's just awesome.
Oh yeah, and
So,
these are, people who are actually let go
hmm
from, Embracer, so they know kind of what's going on. They know how the sausage is being made behind the scenes,
yeah,
so they have
absolutely.
firsthand knowledge of, it's like, you didn't have to let us go. You could have taken a pay cut
Yeah,
here, done better. So let's hope
absolutely.
Shapeshifter is the start of something great.
It definitely has all the potential to be. So
Mhm. Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm excited to keep an eye on them and see what they can get going and see how things go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Right on. Um, it's been 5 months since the closure of Volition, but I'm grateful to post that a group of us have reformed as Shapeshifter. The industry climate remains tough, and I know I'm fortunate to reconnect with colleagues and turn the page on a new adventure. I'm hopeful for more groups like us and for the brighter days to go ahead. And yes, hopeful for sure, especially having that experience of being let go. Take Shapeshifter, be a beacon of light for people who decide to leave their company, start something new, and do it differently, where
Yeah.
you don't have to lay people off. You can just make money, you know? Maybe keep it private. Keep the company private,
Yeah,
you know?
or
With
employee owned would even be something great. That's
Yeah,
something we don't really see, um,
right.
because you don't. I mean, it obviously takes a lot of money. You got to have
Mhm.
investors and everything like that.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
think with their knowledge of the video game industry, their
Mhm.
knowledge with all these other companies, the inner
Mhm.
workings and everything, I think that they could really do like a company owned type
Mhm.
thing. Like, hey, these are options. I know there's a grocery store here called Winco, and they're all company owned or
We
employee
have
owned.
one here too.
And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder what that's like.
Mhm.
But they could be that studio that not only is a safe haven for these developers that need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
They could be those people that are like, well, we're keeping costs down
Mhm.
on purchasing our games, not because we're new, but because we know how to do this and because we don't have
Right.
to pay these investors and so companies like this have an opportunity to make a huge change and a huge impact on the video gaming industry. They've
Yeah.
just got to get that one hit, that one franchise started,
Yeah.
that can really bring them some commercial success, and then they're going to be
Mhm.
set.
Oh yeah,
So
a Baldur's Gate 3 or a Pal World,
yeah,
that which
and
I think
Power
they can
World
do it.
is huge right now.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for them because I was
Mhm.
reading earlier that they're paying about, I want to say, 400 to 500 million pounds on their
Wow.
servers right now
Holy
a
crap.
month.
Holy
Yeah. Um, yes, the game is number one on
Yeah.
Steam, especially, and
Mhm.
with Xbox and all that other stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but when you're thinking about this huge open world, and yes, it's so similar to Pokemon that
Mhm.
it's already wildly popular before it even got out there.
Yeah.
Combine
Mhm.
that with the fact that it's very um, it's a shooter.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's like the adult Pokemon is
Yep.
how I kind of looked at it
Yeah.
the other
You got
day.
your open world element, you got your crafting element, you got your
Exactly.
Pokemon element, the catching the Pokemon.
And the
Um,
shooters,
yeah, you can
and
actually ride them and everything like that. That's
yeah,
freaking, oh
like
my
there's
gosh.
just so much that you can do in that
Yeah.
world,
Mhm.
and so it's going to continue to get wildly popular. So they're going to have
Yep.
to look into that server stuff.
Oh yeah.
They're going
Yeah.
to have to either find another company or something.
Mhm.
That's insane. Like, mm.
All right. Well, let's finish up with the comments. It looks like they're all from Lord Beerus. Thank you.
He's
Thank you,
really
Lord Beerus.
awesome when he's in a stream. He's always saying stuff. He's awesome.
Yeah. He can get it by getting a job and saving up.
Oh, my son.
Oh,
Yeah, this is true.
right on. He's 15. I
Yeah,
think the first job I got was 17, 18. I worked at McDonald's. It
yeah.
was through my
17.
school.
I was
Yeah.
17 for my first job. Yeah, I worked
Yeah.
at the American Legion by
Oh,
my
cool.
house
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
had a restaurant and bar as well,
yeah,
full time restaurant and full time bar. And so I actually worked there. My
yeah.
best friend's mom had been there like her whole life.
Mhm.
And I worked there. Little did I know I would be in the military a couple years later.
That's so funny. Did you have any family members that went to the military or
Oh
anything?
yeah, my whole family's been military.
Very cool.
On my
Okay.
grandpa's side, you can actually trace everybody back to the American Revolution.
Holy crap, dude. Right
Yeah.
on.
So so far, I'm the last generation. The kids from my
Mhm.
cousins and I haven't gone into the military, but
Okay.
so yeah, so that was a
Holy
pretty cool
moly.
one. So
Yeah, yeah. Holy moly. All right. Everything's expensive and don't blame COVID anymore. These rich people just want more money and give less. This is true. Um,
it's very true. You've been to
yeah,
the grocery store?
yeah, I know. Good night.
uh,
Holy crap. Grocery store, the pump. It's
I
like I
know.
remember I have my wife calls it the toaster car. It's a Scion XB. Um, and it was 25 bucks to fill it up. And it doubled um through, these last 3 years.
Oh
It's
yeah,
freaking nuts, man.
yeah.
Uh
I remember when 15-20 used to fill up my Civic, and now it's like 40. I'm like, excuse me. I
yes,
know the tanks have not gotten bigger in these things.
I
Like,
know. Oh my
oh,
goodness.
you saw my cat meow meow
Y-
or meow.
Yeah.
You cracked me up.
It definitely won't be any the management level or CEOs, etc. I'm sure. If and they if it's not, they really need to change the structure. If you're paying these CEOs hundreds of millions of dollars, even tens of millions of dollars, they should be delivering. You shouldn't have to worry about getting rid of people. You
Oh yeah,
know, cutting cutting expenses. You shouldn't have to worry about that if you have a good CEO, a good CFO. They're doing their
exactly.
job. So if
Mhm.
you have to get rid of people, get rid of your CFO. He's not managing the money well.
Exactly. They're just like, oh well, let's make sure these stockholders are happy. Let's make sure the board is doing good. What
Yeah,
vacation can we go on this year for free on the
exactly.
company dime?
Yeah. Let's make sure Bobby Kotick, before he leaves, he gets $100 million.
Mhm.
Absolutely nuts.
I
Crazy.
saw that. I was like, you've got to be kidding.
I know.
It was so rude.
All this stuff happened under his watch. It was crazy. Shouldn't have got a dime. Should have been fired unceremoniously.
Agreed.
The rich get richer and the common folk get screwed as usual. Let's hope this changes with the independent studios that are popping up after all of
Yes.
these layoffs. Let's hope something changes. Uh,
Yeah. I hope
and
so.
as
We need
consumers,
it.
we need to support that too.
Absolutely.
I like that, bro. Are those hearts? Are those cherries? Or is that sunglasses?
Oh, it's sunglasses. That's pretty cool.
Before you end, thank you, Gaming Geek, for your army service. Yes, thank you for your service. Yes,
Thanks.
yes, yes.
Thank you
Hmm.
guys, both of you. Thank you, Lord Beerus. I appreciate you.
Hmm. Oh yeah, this has been awesome. Holy moly,
It really
so
has.
much fun. Goodness gracious.
I enjoyed. I hope everybody watching enjoyed as well. It's
Oh
my
yeah.
first time on a live stream, so
Oh my God. No, no
yes.
way.
Yeah,
So we made history today.
we did.
Right on. That's awesome. So we're gonna switch to Gamer Geek's socials. You have her YouTube and you have her Twitter. It's right there on the screen. You can pause or something like that, but we also have it in the description if you want to get a hold of her. Go visit her YouTube, subscribe. She's at 400. Let's get her to 1,000. Let's do that. Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah. But that's all we've got for you today. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you like the stories. And until the next live stream, keep it casual. Peace.